Let's go!
I was checking out the scout report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach G. Yeah, we live with your boy Monte.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
We're back. Welcome into another episode, another edition of The Rewind, brought to you by Global Sports Entertainment 3. The captain, not a happy captain, but I'm here by the grace of God, Monte Moss, alongside my co-host, who will be joining us momentarily. And before we get kicked off with tonight's episode, just got to do a little bit of house cleaning because, in order to dish it, you got to take it back once it's given back. And I just want to sit here publicly, globally, on a platform that we have to congratulate those I can't remember the team's name. That team. The Ohio State Buckeyes on their impressive win this past Saturday in Ann Arbor at the Big House in stunning fashion, beating my Wolverines for the first time in 5 years. And I was told, I had made a bet with a friend of mine who's an Ohio State fan, that if Ohio State were to win on Saturday, that would come on tonight's episode with some kind of red to resemble them. So as you can see, I got a black shirt underneath, red pullover, and that's just the best it's going to get. I was not going to wear anything with the Ohio State lettering or anything that the Ohio State apparel on tonight's episode. Hell no, no chance in hell, but just want to be able to pay a bet because you got to pay your dues, folks. And I wanted to make sure to do that. But if you haven't, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at @3rewind_GSC3, as well as follow us on all of our social media platforms at @3rewind_GSC3. We got a pretty good episode. Pretty confident how tonight's going to go, despite some things in tonight's throughout tonight's episode. I'll be a little bit shaky, but we shall see. I'm pretty excited. I got a mentor, an OG, a person who really came into my life at a really critical time, I should say, especially when COVID was arising, and my internship with Fox Sports had got canceled, and a little bit of things just was kind of like sort of the unnorm. And connected with this gentleman, gave me a phone call probably a week after just building a relationship, talking a little bit, and gave me an experience of a lifetime that I think I won't ever forget. I'll tell my kids about it when that time comes, but grateful to them. I'll bring them on tonight in a little bit, but we are doing the darn thing. We got a few episodes left of 2025, so we want to give a special thank you to all of our love and support that we received from our social media platforms, to the guests that we've had. We've been really, really blessed to have the folks that we had come through here on the Rewind throughout 2025 and 2026. It'll be no different in my mind. But we want to make sure we close this 2025 year out strong and get ready, because we know our producer, if you didn't know, Chris is getting ready to expect his first newborn in a few weeks. So we want to definitely give him all the love and praise as we can. And I know hopefully that baby comes out as a Michigan baby and not an Ohio State baby, but it'll be a good one. But let's get our co-host in here. Chicago's finest Temple alum. He is a 4-time state champion in his co-head coaching career. He's coached both football and basketball, and he's also inducted into the Newark Hall of Fame. Bryant is also a Michigan Wolverine, but somehow, some way, he's not home. I don't know where he is. But Bryant, wherever the hell you are, welcome into episode 43. How are you, and where the hell are you?
Look, man, I'm good. I'm in the middle of a Monmouth-Princeton basketball game, and it's a pretty good game going on. It's 27-31. I thought it would be a blowout, but I'm sitting here just taking the quick peeks and listening to the music in the background of Dead Leppard or Zed Leppard or whatever you want to Zed Leppard or whatever you want to call him, or whoever else is singing in the background. This game is really freaking good. It's unbelievable, but I'm having a good time sitting here watching the game in a box cheese free food, and it's something great. To bring me out of that bad spirit of Ohio State winning. I kind of figured that they would, but I was trying to jinx it because we're so young. But it is unbelievable with the stuff that they're saying about our head coach, which I don't like. But at the end of the day, I'm enjoying myself.
Well, as you can see, folks, Brian is in his Ohio State apparel as well, black jacket with the red shirt. So it sounds like we're in sync tonight. All right, Chris, we're in sync. So all you Buckeyes fans that was talking all that crap about us on social media prior to Saturday's game, You got what you wanted, which was a win. And first time in 5 years, you won at the big house on the road, and you get Brian and myself tonight in Buckeyes colors. So you are blessed indeed. But let's get our guests in, not just yet, but let me give his quick introduction. If you guys didn't know, his brother Tori is a former South Carolina Gamecock wide receiver, known for his reliable hands and strong 2010 season that helped the team win the SEC East. He spent several years in the NFL on multiple teams before moving to the CFL, where he had a breakout year with the Toronto Argonauts and led the league that year in touchdown receptions. After retiring, Tori has transitioned into sports media, contributing to networks like Fox Sports and ESPN, and now works in athlete mentorship and development. And if you didn't know, from 2020, with the both of us doing our podcast that he started, Champions Club, he called me and asked me if I wanted to be a host. At the time, I still was young and in college. I was like, sure, why not? The experience matters. And we did a whole year of Champions Club podcast, which did pretty well on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It was a fantasy football with a mix of sports betting, and I'm proud to put that on a resume, of course. So let's get him in here. TG, South Carolina Gamecocks finest. He is in the house with the 81 in the background. TG, big bro, it's good to see you. Welcome into your first appearance on the Rewind. No better time to have you. How are you, big bro?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. It's wild how fast time fly. You know, I remember when you were a young grasshopper, and now to be on your platform, you know, it's pretty cool to experience this. And let's make sure we end this thing with a bang, man. Let's do it the right way.
Look at the picture here, man. I had no facial hair. I'm young. I probably was like 21 in that picture. I mean, Tori was in town for a little bit. He had like a three-day weekend in New Jersey. And we did something Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday he left. Sunday night he left. And Brian's here. He left that night. It was a great night in this picture. I won't disclose what happened, but it was good. And it's always good to full circle moment to bring this back together. So, T, we got a great episode. And best believe, look, tonight, whatever Brian says, okay, most of it will probably be false. Some of it will a little bit probably be true. But just hold no remorse, no holds bar. Be yourself. Do what you do, you know. And let's get ready to kick some ass, because I'm pissed off and Brian's pissed off, and you playing in the SEC, knowing the SEC conference and the landscape of how things have changed from the time you played till now. Of course, being a spectator on the outside looking in, I'm sure you can give us a little bit of different perspective from those who don't know. So just best believe, TG, be yourself. There's no restrictions. No restrictions. It's flossy. It's flossy. Let's go. College football recap. You guys didn't know the breaking news that transpired last week, or early this week, I should say, is Lane Kiffin taking his talent to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, leaving Ole Miss after 7 years with the program. He has burned through some stops along the way. That's right. I said it. Burned through some stops along the way. Just a quick recap of his coaching career with the Oakland Raiders at the age of 31, the youngest head coach at the time to be in the National Football League. Then took a talent to Tennessee, where he left them in the middle of the night. Went to USC. That didn't work out. He got fired. Then Nick Saban said, come be my offensive coordinator. Fired him before the national championship game. Then took his talent down to Florida Atlantic. And he spent the last 7 years with Ole Miss, having right now the best record in Ole Miss school history, current at 11-1. This is the first time the school has ever been 11-1. He's had 4 straight 10-win seasons at Ole Miss, but this will be the first year that Ole Miss, if Lane probably will stay, we'll see how this finishes out, that Ole Miss would be in the college football playoff. But, Tori, let's get your reaction to the news. What was your initial thoughts, I should say, with all the media frenzy that was going on weeks prior to the news that he possibly was going to choose LSU or possibly going to Florida, came down to LSU, and then the news, of course, breaking that Lane Kiffin was leaving Ole Miss, get on a private jet, get to LSU to be their next head coach.
You know, Lane gets off to stuff like this. You know, he loves the attention. He's a disruptor. You know, it's kind of similar to maybe a group that Bryant might have listened to back in the day, and we all heard of, NWA. And, you know, just like Ice Cube said, you know, bad news is good news. You know, like if somebody is going to talk about a group or talk about an individual, that means they're getting your attention, and however you spin it, that's how you can leverage it to other things. Lane is a football mastermind, but from a maturity standpoint, it scares me that parents are willing to give their children to a coach that has proven time and time again that he can't sit still, or the way he goes about doing things is very unprofessional in the sports realm. But you expect a lot of these young men to go out and to be pros. So, we wish him nothing but success, but I'm not shocked at all. It gives us something to talk about on sports, podcasts and radio and television. But at the end of the day, if Lane doesn't get his stuff together at LSU, they have no problem getting rid of a coach. Ask Ed Orgeron, ask Nick Saban. You can ask any and every person that's come through there. You can ask Will Muschamp. You can ask all those great coaches. Les Miles, that get you out. But right now he has the momentum, and we will see if he can use this this platform to get LSU back to where they belong, and that's being a top 5 program.
Yeah, Tori, you are right when you said that. Right now, LSU is still paying 2 of their coaches that were on payroll, and that's, of course, Brian Kelly, who was fired this past year. He's currently in an ongoing lawsuit for his $54 million buyout. And Ed Orgeron, which was fired in 2021, he's still getting paid also on LSU's payroll when he had a $17 million buyout. But Bryant, with all the media frenzy and things that took place prior to this, with all the news and circus that was going on with Lane Kiffin to LSU, what do you think the NCAA needs to do to prevent things like this? Because right now we're in an era where there is no restrictions. I think it's a distraction to the players. It's a distraction to the coaches to be able to talk to other schools throughout an ongoing season. I mean, let's just face it. If this was like a Rick Pitino or even a John Shire or the great coaches in college say, hey, it's March Madness, but I'm going to leave my current school to go take another job at another school. What are some things you want to see the NCAA do to prevent stuff like this from happening?
Well, basically, I said he was the prostitute of the league. He basically got the NCAA bent over, and he's just ramming it right to him. Each school that he's going to, it doesn't make any sense. They allow him to do it, and he's taking advantage of the situation. I would still do the same thing, but I'm a big thing with kids, though. I don't like screwing it over kids. I would like to play my last game and then basically give them an idea beforehand to say that I'm going to leave and take another job. I think that's bad on his face. But the NCAA and the colleges allow him to leave from one end to the other. I think, that the university's got to hold him accountable too. This is going to change college sports. It's just what it is. I think it's going to change high school sports, the way they do business. And it's just the way things is. It's a dirty game. It's been that way. It was like that with coaches. Now the players and the coach can do it. You talk about the Wild Wild West. We are in it. It is what it is.
Tori, one of the things I said, and correct me if I'm wrong, I said even if Lane Kiffin chooses LSU, which in the end he did, this is probably one of the biggest pressures in terms of success and winning at an early stage at LSU, because if he doesn't win at LSU, do you believe that this will pretty much tarnish his entire coaching career and his entire legacy? Or even if it doesn't work out, does Lane still be Lane and do what's best for Lane?
Man, Lane is walking around here with a rabbit's foot or a 4-leaf clover up his behind. I mean, this guy is, it's unreal how someone could just be such a rebel and still continue to climb up the ranks as he is. So, if he goes there and struggles and gets fired, with him having, his father, Monte, and then having Nick Saban as the 2 people that are so influential in his career, he will always have a job. It's so many NFL teams that do need an offensive-minded guy, and that's something that Lane possessed, and that's why these colleges just go crazy because, when you give them the horses, he has a lot of national championships and a lot of first-round draft picks, under his belt. He can dial it up, but Lane as a head coach, I mean, this guy's he's just a mess up, man. It's almost, I can't even explain it. It's one of those things that is like, wow, you tell your kids, you tell everybody in this realm, hey man, act a certain way, make sure you treat people with respect, and this guy literally just goes the complete opposite, and that's why he's out here being successful, is because people are admiring his authenticity of him just being a butthole.
Authenticity. I think the funny thing for me, Tori and Bryant, just now that we've kind of got over the whole hump of him being at his press conference and being introduced as LSU's head coach, just sit up there and say like, hey, my agent, Jimmy Sexton, I told him don't discuss, I don't want to know the numbers of my contract, when literally your contract has been spoiled and thrown out all over social media prior to even taking a deal with LSU. And I know the timing of it had to be strategically aligned, because I'm sure a week ago he knew he was going to be the next head coach, and to be the second highest paid coach in the country now, and in his contract, if he wins a national championship with LSU, then he will then become the highest paid coach in the country. But it just amazes me how, like, to say something like that is like, before you even sign the dotted line, what you get ready to get yourself into before you even boarded the plane to go back to Louisiana, that you knew you're going to be the second highest paid coach in the country. But, I just think that, like you said, Tori, the leverage of which he's put himself into, he's been rebuilding his reputation. He's been building his image again for the past 7 years at Ole Miss. And the fact that he has Ole Miss in the best position that the school's ever been in, and not to be the head coach, getting ready for a college football playoff appearance in the next few weeks, is beyond me. So do you agree with Ole Miss's AD to pretty much say, hey, like, thank you, but no thank you, goodbye, we'll see you next year in the SEC? Or would you have liked to see Lane and Ole Miss AD to kind of find a mutual agreement to have him finish his job out at 11-1 and possibly get to a national championship?
Yeah, you got to rip the Band-Aid off, because, right now we are into National Signing Day, and he's trying to, there's a lot of portaling going on. There's a lot of poaching and everything else. So, he has to do what's best for his next team, because that roster of Ole Miss is set. Those guys are going to go play in the playoff, and they're focused on winning a national championship. And Lane, with him getting the salary he's making, he has to come out the blocks blazing. Like, you can't, be sluggish with that type of contract. So, it's best that those guys have parted ways. But, my heart goes out to the seniors. I'm quite sure he probably rode those guys pretty hard, told them that he was going to be there for them for the next 4 to 5 years. And, and to fall short of the finish line where he's not there, or, just the way he probably ruined your senior night. Imagine, you having all your family in town and knowing that you're getting ready to shake this guy's hand, and he's not even thinking about this game. He's thinking about getting on a plane and building a recruiting class for the next college. And it's a lot that goes into it. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this thing plays out, not just immediately, but just in the future, because I know as a former player, man, like, players hold grudges, and, there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out over the next few years where it's like, wow, like, Ole Miss was a mess. So, I wish Ole Miss the best, and hopefully those guys could win, and so they could stick it to them, because that right there is just, I think that'd be the best way to serve revenge, would be holding that national championship.
Yeah, it's pretty disrespectful, Brian. You could chime in on this. It's pretty disrespectful to the players, right? We know like how important it is being a part of a football team, and the grind and the sacrifice that you put in, always starting from July and going into August. And, we have Rick Pitino that come out and says, I'm not knocking football, but there's something wrong with their calendar. I'm at St. John's University. We're potentially a 1 seed and can win a national championship this year, and I leave in March. What's going on here? Brian, what's your reaction to Rick Pitino's tweet in regards to Lane Kiffin and Lane Kiffin taking his talents to Baton Rouge?
Look, Pitino can't say too much. He's done a lot of dirty shit himself. So, I'd be careful if I was him saying some certain things about what coaches do. And, they all paid the players in here. Tori, I don't want to put you out there like that, but you already know what went on in college. We talked about that with Paul Palmer early in the day. Everybody got either got a small bag or you got a bigger bag. well, at least you got a bag. It's just what it is. So it's open to everybody now, man. It's people are complaining about this as being a professional sport in college. It was always professional in college. We just didn't get the money. We had to sit there, and back in my day, we had to sit there and wait on Pell Grants in order to survive. Now you get a bag in order for you to survive up front. I like the way it is. There's some things that need to get fixed and tweaked. But man, look, I'm all for it. I say just keep the ball rolling. I'm shocked at the fact that they gave a man $91 million and they haven't won shit. That's in my mind and stays in there because I've won shit and I can't get a goddamn thing. But he hasn't won a goddamn thing and getting a head coaching job. It's something wrong with that picture. I guess it's about who you know. And that Jimmy Sexton, I want him to be my agent immediately because he getting everybody job. Hey Jimmy, come call me, man. My number is on LinkedIn. Look me up and get me a job, baby. I'm ready to play right now.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's done something that only Lane Kiffin does, and that's think for himself. And I look forward to seeing what will happen going into this upcoming offseason. We know the transfer portal is going to be hot and ready. You know, you got coaches that were boarding a private jet with him because Lane said, if you guys want a job, either get on this plane, but if you don't, you ain't getting a job with me. You're going to have to put your resume in somewhere else. That right there is just atrocious in itself. I mean, I can't imagine what those players in that locker room are going through because these are the same players that you have built built the foundation with the last few years, but predominantly the last 2 years. We know he's had a last 4-win season. It's the first season Ole Miss has had 11-win season in his school history. And the fact that you just pretty much walk out on them, board a private jet, go to your new place that you're going to call work for the next few years, like how any player are you going to recruit now and that you can convince to do that, to ride that ship at LSU? I do believe that LSU is a tier 1 school. When we talk about just tier 1, tier 2, Ole Miss is pretty much a low tier 1, if not a mid tier 2 kind of school. It would take a lot more to get what he's got at Ole Miss and what he's getting at LSU. I mean, shit, he's getting $25 million a year this upcoming year just in NIL alone. I mean, I know there's some other schools out there like Texas and Oregon who are getting a whole lot more, but we shall see what happens with Lane and his success at LSU, because if it doesn't work, burn his house down and burn everything that he's getting ready to do in Baton Rouge, because it's do or die. It's win or go home. He's got more pressure than he has right now in his career than he has ever had, even when he was at Florida Atlantic, even as an offensive coordinator at Alabama. So we shall see. Ohio State 27-9 over Michigan. Sadly, I say that, 27-9 in the Big House. Buckeyes came out in stunning fashion, and while Michigan was worried about field goals, Ohio State and Jeremiah Smith were scoring touchdowns. Justin Hayes was not a factor in his Michigan game. He did not play at all. I believe that was part of the reason that we lost, because the running game has been really important for Michigan. He's had multiple 100-yard rushing games this year. But Jordan Marshall came in. He got injured early on in the second quarter. He was non-factor. And then by the time you know it, our third string was a walk-on, and that told me everything I needed to know. And Tori, you got to be pretty much impressed with the best team in the country, because defensively, we talked about it last week. They're having one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country in terms of holding opposing opponents in points. I mean, right now, Ohio State is the best best defense in the country in terms of opposing points. I mean, they give up, I should say, less than 10 points a game, but they held Michigan to 9, and they dropped a 5-game losing spell against the Wolverines. But what's your takeaway from Michigan, Ohio State at the Big House?
Yeah, that was a much needed win by Ohio State. You know, I've been around both programs, and you know, you can feel the tension in the building. You know, every year people wanted Grande head on the platter, and obviously he was able to deliver, you know, a few years back where they would lose to Michigan but still go out and win the national championship. So for those guys to go out on the road and get a huge win and just kind of meet that physicality, because over the past 5 years when Harbaugh was around, those guys really just punched Grande in the mouth. And now those guys were able to return the favor where they were able to play that bully style of ball, and it helped them get a big win. You know, their defense is, you know, led by coaches that's been in the NFL for many years. So what those guys are doing they're running a pro scheme, and the unfortunate part about Michigan is that they can't play from behind. You know, they have a great run game, but they refuse to really push the ball downfield. You know, they get very one-dimensional, and they've been able to squeak out with some ugly wins. But, you know, that's what happens when, you know, they cut you off and say, hey, man, beat us through the air. You know, now that puts a lot of pressure on Bryce and that play calling, and it just looks really bad. So, you know, Michigan would be fine, but this right here was just, you know, Ohio State, they needed it because the state of Ohio just been in shambles the past 5 years. You know, like if you were a 5-year-old, you didn't know what it was like to beat Michigan. So, you know, that's good for them, and we'll see if they can ride that success throughout the college football playoff.
Yeah, they have a really good team in the Big Ten championship. Bryant's former coach, Coach Signetti at Indiana for the Big Ten title. That's getting ready to come up. But in all three phases of the game, Ohio State dominated. I mean, as Tori said, Matt Patricia has done a phenomenal job as defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes. He's only had one job this year, and that's to get Ohio State off the field on third down. Michigan was unsuccessful in getting third down conversions, I should say. Passing-wise, Michigan only finished with 63 passing yards. Bryce Underwood, yes, he's a freshman, but I do believe this helps him in terms of game experience because, yes, every game in the Big Ten is important, but there's no bigger game in your college career if you're a Michigan Wolverine, and that's against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State Buckeyes dominated in the rushing game. They dominated in the passing game, and offensively, total yards. I mean, they just pretty much did everything to outnumber Michigan and did so in stunning fashion. Bryant, what do you say to Ohio State folks that beat Michigan for the first time in 5 years? And where do you put this loss at in terms of Coach Moore and under Bryce Underwood?
Well, you have some people that want Coach Moore to be fired, which we saw the rhetoric all on social media, which I think is just absolutely stupid. I told the guys, I telling everybody that, you know, Coach Moore is the one that won you a natty. You haven't won anything in a long time, and he was the offensive coordinator since 2021. He was a co-offensive coordinator. Then he took over the reins in 2023 that basically won you a natty. So just get that ridiculous statement out of the window and just, you know, keep building your program, because before the old coach came back from the pros, you were really a shitty program because you was a throwing football team in the Big Ten. We're ground and pound. That's just what it is. Ohio State did a hell of a job, but yet I truly believe that Indiana is coming ready to play, and I think Indiana is going to beat them. Coach Signetti has something to prove. He was at IUP. He's got to the finals and never won. He was at JMU. He got to the finals and never won. He's here now. He's at the Big Ten championship. He's got to win. He's another coach that's got $98 million that haven't won shit. You know, I wonder if his agent is Jimmy Sexton. It's got to be, because these guys are getting big paychecks. I think there's something that these guys, he's got to prove his worth. He's got to eventually get Indiana in the right spot to beat Ohio State, and I think that they can.
You'll be able to catch that game this Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Number 2 Indiana versus number 1 Ohio State. Quick pick, Tori. Who do you like to win in the Big Ten title? Do you see Ohio State defending, repeating, or do you see Indiana coming in and taking Ohio State joy and winning a Big Ten title for the first time in a long time?
Yeah, I got Ohio State winning just because of the experience. You know, those guys at Indiana, they're on a magic run, but you know, that's a huge step up in class when you have to go against the big dogs, and if you haven't ever been there before, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I like Ohio State to win. As sadly as I say that, I just think right now Indiana, they're not ready for what Ohio State has to offer. And regardless of whether you double cover Jeremiah Smith or not, he's going to find a way to get the ball and be productive for Ohio State. So that'd be an interesting game. And then we take a look at the college football playoff rankings that were just released earlier this week. We see here that the first 4, Ohio State at 1, 2 Indiana, 3 Georgia, and 4 Texas Tech. Surprisingly, we got Oregon at 5. Ole Miss falling down to 6. Tori, do you think that has anything to do with Lane Kiffin departing LSU? I think so. Texas A&M at 7, Oklahoma at 8, 9, Alabama, and 10, Notre Dame. And we'll get to see 11 and 12 with conference championship play kicking off this weekend. But, Tori, do you agree with the top 4?
Yeah, it works for me.
Bryant?
I agree with top 4. I just don't my only disagreement is Notre Dame and freaking Alabama. I just don't believe in them yet. It just doesn't. They have some flaws in their game. I just don't believe in them.
They're 10-2. SEC title against Georgia. You think Georgia wins that game? I'm sure you do.
Yes, I think Georgia win that game, and if they lose that game, they should be out.
So
they really should be out. They should be gone.
So here's my next question to the both of you. We saw Steve Sarkisian earlier make his argument on why Texas should be a college football playoff team with 3 losses. Tori, if Alabama were to lose this upcoming weekend SEC title game to Georgia, they'll fall down at 10-3. Does that leverage Texas of getting in, or do you still see Alabama getting despite being a team with 3 losses?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one there. I say Texas gets in, and it truly depends on how the game is played. Here's the part about Bama and Georgia is that those guys it's something about Georgia and Bama in the SEC championship that Bama just has their number. It's the weirdest thing. Like, Georgia could be undefeated, doing all this great stuff, but going against a Bama team, and obviously Nick Saban isn't there anymore, but it's like those players really, they get up for that game in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and we've seen Jalen Milroe go out and get a big win, and we've seen Bryce Young get big wins over Georgia teams, and it's like Kirby just gets tight in that SEC championship game. But usually when that happens, they bounce back the following week and steamroll whoever they play in that first round of the playoff. But this is going to be pretty exciting to watch on Saturday.
Yeah, the top 4 will not be the final 4. I guarantee that much after SEC conference play or championship play. You can catch Georgia and Alabama 4 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. We shall see what happens. Was that changing gears? We switch over to the NFL side. Week 13 recap with a Week 14 preview. It's our Thursday night recap from Thanksgiving Day. Brian and myself on our Thanksgiving picks, we are both 1 for 2. Brian took the Green Bay Packers. He took the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. I took Detroit, Dallas, and Baltimore. And stunning fashion, we are both 1 and 2. Joe Shicey told us, I got something for you guys down there at the Rewind, and he went into Baltimore and lit Baltimore up just as much as Brian predicted that it was soon or later to come with them being on a winning streak. Since coming off the bye week, Dallas took care of business at home 31-28. I told you, Brian, Jerry don't lose on Turkey Day. It's just something about Turkey Day he don't lose. And Jordan Love did what he was supposed to do going into Detroit. And Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions.
That reminds me of being in Linden High School when you're already down by 10 before you walk in the goddamn gym. He's fixed.
Tori, what was your reaction to the Thanksgiving games? Any of these games here surprise you in particular?
I think Kansas City is cooked.
I do too.
Yeah, it's crazy that they'll jump out on you. And you know what? I'm not even going to give it to Kansas City. I'm more shocked that Dallas can play from behind and win games. I'm kind of scared of Dallas when they're playing from behind. It's like they get relaxed and go out there and the offense starts to click. So now, what's going to happen when the shoe is on the other foot and these guys, jump out on a team 14-17, 0 or whatever, will they blow the lead? But, man, it is pretty impressive to see Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens go out there and put on an offensive show for us to watch.
I know one team that's not been impressive as of late, and that's the Indianapolis Colts. They came out to start the year hot at 8-2, I believe, and then they just lost another game against the Texans, a division game, 20-16. Going into right now, they are currently on a 2-game losing streak with their second straight loss against Houston. Right now, Daniel Jones is banged up, with a fractured tibia, I believe. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been as productive. The offensive line has been shaken up, and defensively, losing Sauce Gardner, no timetable return on when he's coming back. But right now, Tori, with the Colts at one point being the hottest team in the NFL, they've kind of had that fire blown out. Are you concerned right now with the Indianapolis Colts being right now at 8-4?
Them dudes on Canal Street, man, them fake Rolexes and Gucci bags and stuff, man. Ain't nobody paying the Colts any mind. That division is it's tough, but you got teams that get to play a pretty lenient schedule, and they took advantage of it. But you got the Bears that's like that. You got the Patriots.
Whoa!
Yeah, there's a lot of teams out here that's fugazi, man. That's fugazi.
Whoa! I got something for you. Don't even worry about it. I got something for you later. Don't even worry about it.
Tori, don't ever say anything about the Bears, man. We leaps and bounds better than we have been in over the past 5 years. Give them some grace. I'm not ready to give them that elite yet because they just at the beginning. But give them a little bit of grace. Just a little bit.
We'll go back to the double doink.
Yeah, it's been concerning if you're a Colts fan because right now you're in a tough spot. The AFC South is pretty much up for grabs at this point. And right now, the second half of the season after Thanksgiving is the most crucial time of the year. And Daniel Jones right now, this is when you really rely on him to play some really good football along with Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. But they got to get things together if they want to win the division and get into the playoffs. But we shall see what happens with the Colts. They have the Jaguars this upcoming Sunday. Let's pivot to Brian's Bears winning Friday after Thanksgiving in Philadelphia with the horrible offensive coordinator and the Eagles offense. 24-15. The Bears right now are number one in the AFC, and they are on a 5-game win streak with Ben Johnson in his first year as head coach. Brian, are you impressed with the Bears win against Philly on the road?
I'm impressed a little bit, like 50%. Last week I was at 0, but now I'm impressed 50%. And this goes to prove my point because I'm not going to do the hot take. Offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators are the one that win and lose the game because the Eagles look like pure shit right now. It's bad. It is really bad. They playing complacent and they playing like the Michigan Wolverines. They're not even throwing a freaking football. It's like, well, what are you doing? I mean, you got to stretch the field. You got to do something. You just can't sit there. And if you're not rushing and you're not throwing, what the hell are you doing? Because your running back is not over 100 yards in the past, 6-7 games? You're not really throwing a damn ball. So, what are you, 3 and out? Like, it's I don't understand it, but that's why I can't trust the win with the Bears because the Eagles are in such a disarray. That just inside their locker room is just it's something going on that's really bad.
Just some quick stats for that game. Jalen Hurts, 19-34, 230 yards passed, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, he's been having last 2 weeks. He's been having a really good game from a receiving perspective. 10 receptions, 132 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 13 for 56. But Brian, you got to be impressed. You had your boy Mwangi and DeAndre Swift both over 100 yards rushing. You've talked about the rushing attack for Chicago. If it can be successful, it will open doors up for Caleb Williams in the passing game. Well, you got that and then some on Friday in a win. I know you're happy.
Hey, week 2, I was screaming. I said, run the goddamn football. It just says run it. You're trying to put the game in the quarterback's hand. Makes no sense. You got 2 good backs back there. Not great ones, but good ones. Run the ball, open up the field. And I'm so used to saying court, going back and forth between 2 sports is driving me crazy half the time. But stretch the field. It'll open up doors for you, and that's what's happening. They're starting to win some games.
DeAndre Swift, appreciate you for your fantasy points this past weekend. You are the man, and we shall see if the Bears can continue and go on a 6-game winning streak. So all the Bears hype, people out there saying they want to see a rematch of Patriots and Bears in the Super Bowl. Let's pump the brakes right now because the Bears can't beat. I can name a bunch of teams right now at the top and the NFC that the Bears will lose to if the playoffs started today. But we won't get into that. We'll carry on with the episode. And let's get into a quarterback that Tori knows very well when his days in Green Bay. And that's Aaron Rodgers, Bills over Steelers, 26-7. Man, Aaron Rodgers is pissed off at his wide receivers. And one thing I will say is that this whole DK Metcalf experience and extravaganza, it hasn't paid off. I mean, the last few games, DK Metcalf haven't finished over 50-yard receiving. I mean, his route tree skills are pretty much the dirt. Maybe you should call Tori for some tutorials on how to get Aaron Rodgers to get him the football. But if you didn't know, Josh Allen recorded his 76th career rushing touchdown, surpassing Cam Newton for the most by a quarterback in NFL history. Tori, it's a pretty bad day if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and predominantly if you're Mike Tomlin, because this is something that has been brewing for a while. The Steelers fall to 6-6, second in AFC North. Do you see a split between the two at the end of this year, or do you see Aaron Rodgers in this Pittsburgh Steelers offense having some type of come to Jesus moment reality where they can get things going and kind of sneak their way into the playoffs and not winning the division?
Yeah, when you mentioned split, are you mentioning Mike Tomlin and the Steelers going a different direction?
Yes.
It wouldn't shock me. And the reason for that is because, on television, people call Mike Tomlin mediocre Mike. He has the great sound bites on TV, but when you look at his record, it's literally 500. And those guys have been bounced out in the first round of playoffs so many times where it's like, what good is it to win the division if you're going to just get blown out at home in a playoff game versus a wild card team? So, I'll pull for Mike Tomlin because as he's a great man, but things do run stale. And I think the way he coaches is outdated. He's from the old school where, you want to go out there and knock the hell out of people, and that type of style isn't football anymore. As you can see, Ben Johnson with the Bears, he's having success because they have a wide open passing game. The last time the Steelers have had like a high powered offense, I think that was with Bruce Arians, and that's when you had the triple Bs. You had Big Ben, you had AB, and you had Le'Veon Bell, and that's been many years ago. It seemed like it was just yesterday, but when you look at it, it's like, man, that was some time. So. And with that being said, Tomlin hasn't had an offense to come close to that. And, you're asking a lot of an older Aaron Rodgers and a DK Metcalf that just got there. I think it might be best for the Steelers and Coach Tomlin to go in different directions, and they bring in a fresh offensive-minded person to see if they can shake things up in the AFC North.
Yeah, I've said personally, Tori, that I would like to see Mike Tomlin in an Andy Reid 2.0 type of situation, just from his championship mentality and championship grit. Putting him in a different organization is a fresh start that I think he personally needs in his career. I'm sure it's been taxing the last few years. Yes, everyone talks about the amount of consecutive winning seasons that the Steelers had, but people haven't been discussing about how many times the Steelers have exited after those winning seasons, predominantly in the first round. And we look at this game here against the Buffalo Bills, who pretty much laid an egg the week prior on Thursday Night Football, but then they bounce back in stunning fashion and can't lose for the rest of the way if they want to catch the Patriots, if not be a wild card team. But they, 3-9 on third down. They only had 18 minutes of time possession, and Bills pretty much dominated them in all three phases of the game. And the Steelers are in midlife crisis alert because Aaron Rodgers is old. DK Metcalf hasn't been producing as much as what we thought he would, and early in the season, which he was. And the run game has just been really atrocious for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we shall see what happens in the AFC South, as well as what happened with Pittsburgh this upcoming Sunday. And congratulations to Josh Allen, sadly, who leads now all-time NFL record in quarterback rushing touchdowns with his 76. Now let's talk about a team who's not fugazi, who's not a flunk, who's not a schedule fix, and that's the New England Patriots. Goddamn it, improving to 11-2, going into 11-1. Oh, no, 11-2. We lost to Pittsburgh and we lost to Las Vegas, sadly. Going into the bye week, 33-15 was your final on Monday Night Football, improving to 11-2, 10-game winning streak. That is the most win streak right now, highest win streak in the NFL. And look, I really don't have much to say. It's the Giants. The Giants are pretty much awful. They should do what LSU has been doing, and that's look for a coach right now, maybe sign him before the end of the season. I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger. But Drake May did what he was supposed to do in the win at home, and Mike Vrabel in this team is no better time right now to be on a bye week to prepare for a really good Buffalo Bills team at home. I look forward to that, but I really have nothing much to say. This is what we're supposed to do. New England is back in winning fashion, first 10-win season in a long time, because it's been some years, but we back. AFC East is ours, and we're going to take care of business against Buffalo too. Guarantee. Tori, you don't disagree with me, right? You agree with me that New England's going to beat Buffalo, right? At home, you agree with that? Brian, you agree with that, right? Y'all good? Be good?
No, I'm not going to agree with that.
Of course.
Of course. The Giants look like a damn high school team. And that was terrible. It was so bad that I just turned it off, and I said, I can't believe that the damn quarterback went flying out of bounds like that. It just made no sense.
Clean hit.
I understand it was a clean hit, but look at it. You guys, I give you this. You move very well defensively. It's just what it is. But you move very well defensively against the Giants, which absolutely stink. They couldn't beat Shabazz High School. It's just what it is. They're that bad. And Shabazz lost today, by the way, to Camden, 27-0. I mean, just really, that was just bad. They just, they're going to go back again next year. They just didn't come ready to play. But the Giants look just like Shabazz, just bad today. It's just bad today. All right, yeah, I give you guys a little bit of credit because you got some speed defensively, but that's all credit I'm going to give you. I hope the Patriots do pay the Bears in a Super Bowl. I'm gonna have a big old party. Everything's free.
Well, first off, the Bears won't even make it to the NFC Championship game. Let's just start there. You might not even make it to the second round of the playoffs. I mean, let's see. It's still early. We got about 5 games left in the NFL season. But let's get into our Sunday preview. Tori, Steelers versus Ravens. Quick pick. Who do you like to win this Sunday? It's a must-win game for both teams. The division is still up for grabs. Who do you like?
I'll take Steelers and beat Ravens.
Bryant?
That's, it's sometimes I want to go to Steelers, but I don't even know. I don't know which team is going to show up. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Yeah, I took Baltimore on Thursday night for Thanksgiving, and they only came out 14 points against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Cincinnati Bengals, and Joe Shiesty lit them up. But I believe that I believe Pittsburgh can go into Baltimore and lose. Give me the Baltimore Ravens at home to just pretty much take this division and finish the thing strong. I mean, Derrick Henry has got to have a good game. Zay Flowers has been consistent. One thing I will say, they just got paid. Mark Andrews just got paid. So they have a lot of things that come into this game on Sunday ready to do, and I hope that's the win because I don't know if Mike Tomlin, I don't know if Dick LeBeau, I don't know if Bill Cowher can come into this Pittsburgh organization and just put things back together where it should be. So that game will be 1 o'clock on CBS. Bears and Packers, quick pick. Bryant, who do you like? The Bears going into Lambeau and getting the win, or do you see the Bears losing?
We're going to Lambeau and get that damn win. We have to. That's no choice. Everyone's trying to single cover that Michael Parsons. You got to double that man because he's going to get past the first level quickly. So you got to leave a back in the backfield to freaking knock him off his path. It's just what it is. 2 for 1, fine. I'll take it. At least you're not giving up 3 or 4 sacks for the game. The Bears going to win this one by 1 single point, 21-20. Book it.
Oh, my God. Michael Parsons is top 3 in the league in sacks. Tori, Jordan Love has got to pretty much win this game to put Packers ahead of Chicago to tie him in the division. Who you like this upcoming Sunday, the Bears or the Packers?
Yeah, Packers.
Jordan Love, let's go. Michael Parsons, 2 sacks. Caleb Williams, I'm not sure what color of his fingernails is going to be on this game, but he better be ready for that cold in Lambeau because, Matt LaFleur and that offense is coming, and they're coming to spank some booty. All right, folks, it's time for our Thursday night football picks and locks. I am 9-4 on the year, and Brian is 8-5, and we'll be joined by one of the biggest Dallas Cowboys fans. He's returning for his second appearance. It's Moose. Moose is back, not Moose, the former Super Bowl champion for the Dallas Cowboys. Moose has been on GSC3 to rewind. What's good, Moose? How you doing, brother? We got Thursday night. Dallas going into Detroit. Detroit losing on Thanksgiving Day. Dallas is on a pretty good win streak. They're on a high right now. And you're pretty confident that they can go into Detroit and win on Thursday. Give me your pick. Who do you like for Thursday, Dallas or Detroit?
Let's go, boys, baby. Let's go, boys. I mean, Shotty got them rolling. Shotty got them going. It's a tough thing, Shout out to my homie, my brother Nazir Jackson. Big Lions fans. I know a lot of people have these things going on. They got a lot of injuries, a lot of questions. Offense seems a little convoluted there. Dan Campbell, is he going to take over the plays? Is he calling the plays? Is this going on? Is John Morton making things going? I listen. The injuries on the defensive side and injuries at wide receiver, I don't see them having enough firepower to keep up with us. I see sometime mid third quarter we're going to stretch away. I see the boys. I'm going with the boys. I'll go 28-17.
28-17. Moose taking the Cowboys. Bryant, you would, of course, being a Bears fan, you need Detroit to lose. But who do you like Thursday night, Cowboys or Lions?
I need Detroit to lose, but at the end of the day, Detroit is not going to lose. They have to win that game without any question whatsoever. That this is a must game to even have even playoff hopefuls. It would look very bad to be in the position where they were last year to not even get in the wild card. So this is a must win. This coming up Sunday, they have to win, no question. I got Detroit Lions winning 24-21. By a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Every week Bryant just says some team is going to win by 3. Some team's going to win by 3.
3 is my number.
I just don't understand or get it at this point. But, Tori, let me go over to somebody who's got some sense. Right now, all-time, Detroit leads the series 19-13. Last year, if you don't remember, Detroit pretty much ground-pounded and smacked the Cowboys up 47-9. Cowboys are on a 3-game win streak. Do you see Dallas going into Detroit Ford Field getting the win, or do you see Dan Campbell and Jared Goff bouncing back to get the dub against Dallas to keep their playoff hopes alive?
Yeah, it's a must-win for Detroit. I'll take the Lions, and the reason for that is they got to keep pace at the NFC North. I feel like by far that's the best division in football between Packers, Bears, Lions, and hell, even the Vikings can clip you if you catch you on the right day. So that's why I'm pulling for them. So I think they'll get it done tomorrow night.
Well, I know you guys want to hear who I'm going to pick to win. And I'm going to tell you who's going to win on Thursday Night Football. I said last week that I've only picked Dallas to win twice this season. Once against the Arizona Cardinals, and they lost on Monday Night Football without Kyler Murray. That was terrible. It was so bad Stephen A. was in the suite with Jerry Jones, and he left once Arizona scored. He's like, I'm out. And then I picked them on Thanksgiving because I just know facts, and I knew that Jerry Jones don't lose. But I'm urgently going to lean with the Dallas Cowboys this Thursday night because it is a must-win if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive in the NFC East. If they want to be a wild card team, Dak Prescott is having an MVP year so far. Don't get me wrong. The offense is playing well. George Pickens, he's looking like, hey, Jerry, you need to pay me. And CeeDee Lamb has been doing everything that he's getting paid to do, and that's catch the football. I like the offensive momentum where Dallas is at right now. I mean, defensively, they couldn't stop me if I was in the backfield. They give up 21-plus points for the last 5 weeks. I just don't understand. Rather, as Everbus or even Schottenheimer calling plays, Dallas needs a win, and they need to win bad. Give me the Cowboys going into Detroit. I'm going to go with it'll be a high-scoring game, I believe, because both teams can score. I'm going to go 35-28 final. Brian, you got something you want to say?
Fix. If the Cowboys win, it's fixed. You already know it. It's
Come on.
You just automatically went from bums to success. Just to get
3-game win streak.
Come on.
Those Coach.
Come on.
Those tweaks on the defensive side have absolutely been exactly what we need.
Both defenses are horrible.
Not the Cowboys is actually formidable since we came out the bye. Quentin Williams
just gave up 28 against Kansas City.
And they look, you're talking about 28 points through the air. What they do running? They can do running.
I'm just saying. Well, Dallas going to have to figure something out if they want to stop Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery.
You're right. I see that. That's definitely a problem. But they're gonna have to do that because the receivers are hurt. You got Jameson Williams and Isaac Tesla. Khalif Raymond is hurt. Amon St. Brown might not be playing. I don't know.
No Sam Laporta.
He's out.
He's out.
They got a lot of injuries. They got a lot of injuries to deal with. A lot of issues coming up.
A lot of issues. It's
time for. We got to get our get back. We got to get our get back for Dan Gamble for doing that last year.
47-9. I remember that game. That was horrible. Oof. That was worse than a prostitute getting beat up on the corner after a late night at the bar. I'm just saying. It can get ugly quick. But it's time for Monty's Locks for Thursday Night Football, brought to you by no one. I'm going to take Dak Prescott to throw over 200 passing yards this game against Detroit. Anytime touchdown scorer, Jamar Gibbs. Dallas cannot stop the run, not whatsoever. I do like CeeDee Lamb to get over 4 receptions, and it's time for George Pickens to get that over 60 receiving yards in a game, just like he did last week against Kansas City. Those are my fantastic 4. Let it marinate, let it brew. And that's Monty Locks for this upcoming Thursday night football game against Dallas Cowboys and Detroit Lions. Appreciate y'all. Moose, always a pleasure for you coming to join us. Wish you best of luck because I'm rooting for Dallas once again publicly. So I need you guys to do what you do and show up. But I look forward to tonight's game and appreciate you stopping by, and good luck tomorrow night.
Enjoy the rest of the show, brothers.
Absolutely. Shout out to Moose, who's doing a darn thing in Orange as being one of the leaders for Orange Police as a lieutenant. He's a pretty well powerful guy. I love that guy. But Tori, it's your first time here. I know it won't be your last time here. I know you've been on a lot of sports shows, sports podcasts throughout your tenure, being in the sports media world. And I know one thing Brian can do is go off the realms. And you know, it's sometimes when you allow that baby, that crackhead baby, just go nuts, like go play. This is the segment where Brian gets to go play. It's time for this week's edition, episode 43 of Coach Gard's Hot Take. Let's get to it, baby. Come on, crew.
We mentioned this earlier, and with the fans of Ohio State, I can't stand your asses. I really can't. It's just what it is, you know what I mean? And you're fighting recruits out in the street and all kind of nonsense that I saw on social media. He's not getting, Moore's not getting fired. He's going to be there for a long time, so get used to it. He's 1-2 versus Ohio State is what it is. So be it. Because basically he was the offensive coordinator, the past 3 or 4 years, Monty?
Well, technically he would be 2-1 because he's won as a coordinator, and then he won as an interim coach.
Let's say 2-1. And let me see, the old head coach was 0-4 against Ohio State. Harbaugh. 0-4. Who was the head coach at Ohio State at that time?
Urban Meyer.
Say it again.
Urban Meyer.
Say it one more time.
Goodbye.
Right. He never beat Urban Meyer, ever.
But he beat Ryan Day.
But yet, that was the offensive coordinator. That's when this man stepped into the picture. So guess what? He's going to be there. He's going to be there for a long time. And I'm going to have to take off. And I'm going to have to leave because there's only 3 minutes to go in this basketball game. But Coach Moore is here to stay. Get ready for him because when he builds this team, it's going to be a nightmare for Ohio State for years to come. And I'm done. And that's my take.
Appreciate it, Brian. I think what people don't understand, Tori, and Michigan from being there behind the scenes with Harbaugh at the helm, and of course Moore at the time being the offensive coordinator, he had a lot of expectations coming to this year to clean up last year's mess. In my opinion, as a Michigan man, a fan, diehard, I think he's met those expectations. 9-3 is something that I didn't predict that we would get to, especially being a young team offensively and defensively, and also having Bryce Young as our quarterback. And look, lightning doesn't strike twice overnight in that regard. It's safe to say that just give Coach Moore time. He's still growing as a head coach. He's the right leader, I should say, for the Michigan Wolverines football team and the Michigan Wolverines future. It's nonsense to say for Ohio State fans wanting him fired. Where would you rank right now in terms of a grade of Coach Moore's era at Michigan right now? I think he's on mute. Tori, your mic. There you go.
I think that's a loaded question you asked because Coach Moore is right place, right time.
Correct.
And Harbaugh looked out for him. I just think that he's still trying to find his identity as a coach.
Correct.
They try to carry the traditions of the Harbaugh family and the way, they do little things at practice or whatever. But, this is a tough job. Like Lane Kiffin at LSU is a tough job. Sherrone Moore at Michigan, like coming off a national championship, I mean, the expectations are so high. And I don't think he's head coach material. I think he's a guy that's just fighting for his life, and unfortunately, you're going to have more losses, ugly losses, than those wins when it comes to the big games, especially if you can't control the line of scrimmage and run the football the way you want to. It's going to force him to get out of his shell, and if his shell is to be a run-first coach, then this style of college football, man, this ball is in the air. Like same thing in basketball, man. There aren't too many people making layups, man. It's all about analytics and shooting threes and how many points can you score. So it's going to take a great defense and a lot of support from the big boosters at Michigan to get behind this, because if not, he could be a guy that falls casualty of just getting fired and they bringing in a bigger name. So, that's my response to that.
Yeah. One thing I will say is this, and this will probably come off as being arrogant, but personally, I just don't care as a Michigan fan. I do believe Coach Moore deserves a third-year opportunity or year-3 opportunity next season. The expectation going into next year will be crystal clear, make the playoffs, and probably beat Ohio State. That should be the top priority list. If Sharon Moore doesn't achieve that in terms of making the college football playoff, I think it'll be his last year at Michigan. He's going to have to pretty much fight for his job. He gets returning Bryce Underwood, who's Michigan playing a lot of money this year. And they got to have a really good recruiting season in the offseason with the whole transfer portal stuff. But Coach Moore doesn't have much leg to stand on, because right now, yes, he's had a lot to take over with Harbaugh departing, winning a national championship, losing 85% of his roster to the pros and to other places in transfer portal. Then they come in after that and to pretty much try to find who he is in the Big Ten. Yes, he has beat Ryan Day in Ohio State at Ohio State. Grateful for that, but Coach Moore has got a lot of pressure going into next year. And yes, finish the season strong. I'm not sure if Michigan will be in a bowl game. Hopefully they are, but if not, all the focus has got to be on improving this team from turning him into a 3-loss team to pretty much an undefeated, or if not a 1-loss team at best, because not making the playoffs in another consecutive year as a Michigan head coach, your job's in jeopardy.
I'm going to disagree. You know why? Because they gave Harbaugh 4 years, and it was different. I get it. I understand the times. I feel all that. But still, they gave him that time. And they wanted to fire him, too. They wanted to fire him, and they didn't. And it was the smartest thing they ever did. You have to give this man 4 years. You had loss of scholarships. You have lost a lot of different things. You had all these sanctions for cheating. You had all this other nonsense going on. You just can't get rid of a man that's underneath the belt of someone else. So it is what it is. You have to give him the 4. You give him the 4. If he wind up getting to the playoffs, so be it. But after the 4 years, if he doesn't, then I understand it. These are his kids that are coming in. He's working with Harbaugh's kids right now, and he's got a freshman offensive line. So at the end of the day, a freshman quarterback and a freshman offensive line, you're not going to sit there and line up and say that you're going to go 12-0 with some damn redshirt freshmen. It's not going to happen. I don't care who you are.
Next year's expectation is simple, Bryant. Make the playoffs.
Michigan
cannot be a tier 1 school and not make the playoff.
I get that. I understand that. But at the end of the day, he's going to lose 2 games. You already know that. This team is still developing. Now, after another year, then let's talk. But next year, my expectation is pretty much 1 notch higher.
Make the playoff.
1 notch higher. 1 notch higher. One notch higher. That's it. He's going to struggle against Indiana. He's going to struggle.
I want to add one more thing to it. There's a chance that your quarterback might not be there next year.
This is correct.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
This is correct.
I agree. You
know what I mean? With all the moving, you don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So you're throwing things in the air, saying that he's got this. No, man, this you're right. Times have changed, but yet you don't know who's going to be his quarterback. You don't even know who's going to be his damn running back. He only had 2 backs, and they both got hurt. You're playing with a walk-on running back.
The third string, correct. Tori, what was you going to add?
Yeah, like Bryce Underwood might not be there. He might decide to get in the portal and leave because
Lane Kiffin need a quarterback.
And guess where he was committed to before Michigan?
LSU.
And how much money they have in NIL?
$25 million
a year.
That's not a lot, but it's
And look,
Oregon has what 90.
It could pay Bryce Underwood's salary.
Yeah, Bryce Underwood's getting paid like almost $12 million at NIL this year.
Yeah, so.
You think Lane Kiffin need a look? Lane Kiffin's shiesty, man. He know what to do. He's got. I think Lane Kiffin part of his deal. He's got like first class for recruits. He's got sweet games. He's got a full loaded package, private luxury cars, picking you up, taking you wherever you want to go. I mean, LSU's giving Lane Kiffin all the keys to win.
LSU is a corporate office. That's just what it is. It's all corporate. I gotta get out of here, gents. I will talk to you guys later on. It was nice seeing you again, Tori. Monte, we'll talk on the phone, and I'll holler at you guys later on.
Well, I'm glad that Brian's gone because I don't have to hear his annoying voice and him talking all his garbage. So we're almost out of here, but I want to get your top 5 after this. But right now it's time for this week's edition of Rewind of the Week, episode 43 style. Tori, give me a grade after my top 5. Give me a grade on A to F. Give me a grade. Let's go, baby. On this week's edition of Rewind of the Week, we take a flashback to my top 5 through week 13. Now, listen, I understand everyone's going to criticize me regardless. I get the criticism every week, and I welcome all the smoke. Number 1, of course, I got New England Patriots, 11-1, 11-2, 10-game winning streak on a bye this week, going in, getting ready for Buffalo the week after. Denver in stunning fashion. I do believe they are number 2 team at 10-2. Offensively, Bo Nix has been pretty really well, but I do believe that this will change with Denver because Denver's last 3 games, they've won less than 5 points, 5 to 6 points, and that win in overtime at Washington, they almost lost that game. And Sean Payton and that offense, Sean Payton, that defense, they better figure some things out because it only gets tough from here on out. Seattle at 3. I do like them at 3. I wanted to keep the Rams in there, but them losing this past Sunday to Carolina pretty much took them out of there. They may return. We'll see what happens. Chicago at 4. I think right now I'm going to ride the high with Chicago's fans. Ben Johnson, his offense has been really impressive. DeAndre Swift and the running game's been effective. Caleb Williams hasn't been turning the football over the last few weeks, and right now Chicago's having the best year that they've had in a pretty long time. And for me, the team that I think that a lot of people in America are sleeping on is the San Francisco 49ers at 9-4. Kyle Shanahan is getting the job done. Brock Purdy's come back, played really well, and their win last week. And look, the list will change, but Tori, give me a grade on what you see out of my top 5, and if you disagree with my top 5, who would you put in yours?
Yeah, I give you a B. I'll swap out the Niners for the Rams. I wouldn't
even with losing.
I wouldn't overreact after a loss. Like, it happens. Sometimes you play up to competition, and sometimes you play down to it. There aren't too many teams in the National Football League that go undefeated. So it is what it is. But I trust in Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and
so do I.
Yeah, and Devontae Adams.
So do I.
Those guys, they can get it done. They play some good ball. So that'll be the only thing I'll swap is Niners.
Niners for Rams?
Yeah.
So my first 4 is solid?
I'll leave it like that. Yep. As of week 14, yeah, I'll leave it as that.
That's exactly why I love you. And this is what makes the Rewind what it is. So you get to catch this list will definitely change after this upcoming Sunday's game. Yes, the Patriots are on a bye. And we shall see with all the games coming up this upcoming Sunday from the National Football League on your TV channel. It's time for our last segment of the night, and it is Floss with Moss. And I'm changing gears. I'm going to a whole different sport, and I don't care. I haven't been as active as I should be in the sport, but I did catch the SEC versus ACC Challenge matchup games yesterday with Syracuse getting the win at home, and it's in a really close game. And Duke taking care of business against Florida at home. Chris, take us home, baby. All right, folks, it's time for Floss with Moss. It's Flossy, and we're going to get a really quick preview of the early college basketball season. And my Michigan Wolverines are number 3 in the country right now at 7-0. Dustin May, let it ride, and that's including beating Gonzaga. Purdue number 1 at 7-0. Arizona at 7-0. Duke with the win last night against Florida at home. They improved to 9-0. I'm sure the rankings will change. UConn and a really hard-fought game against Kansas last night. But, Tori, it's pretty much an exciting year or season, I should say, for college basketball. A lot of things have changed with the whole NIL perspective. And I know it's early and these things will change as the season goes on, but we do have ACC versus SEC play. But from what you've seen last year with Florida beating Houston in the national championship and being the defending champs this upcoming season, what are some teams out there that you are excited to watch or keep an eye on as this college basketball season progresses?
I'm just excited for everyone. This is, we got to get through this little spell right here where these kids are going to have winter break. And now, sometimes you see the performances kind of go down because they're on campus by themselves. But, once this thing heats back up, January and February, once we get into conference play.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when things shape up for March Madness. So I'm just excited to watch some good college basketball, during Christmas and over the holidays. And, I look forward to filling out my brackets in March, man. And hopefully I can get a few twins, on my bracket before I throw it in the trash.
Yeah, we might bring you back. Let's put something together, bring you back for March Madness. I know last year or this past year for March Madness, we had Randy Foy on. We did a kind of a bracket breakdown, whatever, and predictions and stuff like that. But I am as well. I think Michigan, not being biased, but I do believe they have a really good team with Dustin May. Did a really good job this offseason with recruiting and bringing in some players from the transfer portal. I do like Duke. I think Duke right now with Boozer, they can be a team to beat. I do see them making a deep run. Kansas, UConn. It'll be a different scene. And St. John's is a sleeper. I mean, anytime Rick Pitino goes into a team or school, they don't lose and they don't lose in stunning defeat. So those are some early teams. Houston, I know they'll be back there in the Elite Eight, if not Final Four. I mean, what Coach Sampson does year in and year out with that Houston program, yes, he's up there in the 70s, but the integrity, the standard doesn't change. So we'll be able to keep this thing on a rise once the football season kind of dies down. We'll shift gears and get right into college basketball play because I'm excited. I've just started watching some games on a consistent basis, but it was pretty good. So, Tori, before we sign off episode 43, tell the people where they can find you on social media platforms and what do you have cooking on your end for the people to support? Yeah,
you can find me on my platform at torigurley.com, tgurley81, all social media. Like I said, right now we're in the middle of National Signing Day with kids, so we got kids signing the colleges all over in the first signing period, and then next will be the portal, and then after that, the second signing period will be in February. So I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be on this platform. And Monte, I'm so proud of you, watching you host your own show. And just, man, this is a beautiful thing, man. I'm proud of you, dude, and can't wait to be on here again.
Yeah, appreciate it, big bro. I think you've played a part and played a part in this at all. I mean, like I said, you gave me an opportunity to come down and see you work. Back in 2020 when you were going out there for the Super Bowl between San Francisco and Kansas City, the whole studio experience, the whole hotel experience, you doing what you do in craps, and it was just an amazing time, a time I'll never forget. We had the opportunity to connect with a legend, and it was just something that I'll never forget. And like I said, you gave me an opportunity to host your podcast, Champions Club, that you could have picked anybody who you wanted at the time from folks at networks to whoever, but you decided to pick a young scholarly voice, high pitched, full of enthusiasm and joy kid named Monte to ride the train with you and put out a good product week in and week out with Champions Club that I enjoy. But this is what we do, man. It's all grace to the good Lord. We're getting ready to be a year doing this, but we need to take things to another level with sponsorships. We need some money coming in. We just need something because right now I am the budget and I'm running thin as is, but all grace to the good Lord. Tori, always a pleasure. If you haven't, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at @the_GSC3, as well as follow us on all of our social media platforms at @GSC3. We are getting ready to end the 2025 year of the Rewind, and we're just trying to finish this thing strong with a few weeks left. Tori's always a pleasure, my big brother. And we're going to keep this thing rolling. Next week, we're going to have some more exciting guests coming on, and I won't disclose just yet. Maybe you'll see that next week. And, guys, enjoy this upcoming football Sunday. Patriots on the bye, all good. And to the Ohio State Buckeyes, good luck this Saturday against the Indiana Hoosiers and the Big Ten Championship. And I look forward to seeing what transpired between Alabama and Georgia. That's my game to watch for this upcoming Saturday. And shout out to Miss Kim, Tori's wife. Shout out to my little bro, TJ. I haven't met him yet in person, but I look forward to that. Tori, always a pleasure. I love you. And as we sign off on every – oh, wait. Want to give a special thank you to my dog, Chris, in 1990 Studios for the work he does week in and week out. Shout out to our guy, Pat, who's a diehard Eagles fan. But sorry, Pat, your Eagles just lost again. And they egged offensive coordinator's house the Saturday after the game. They egged his house. It's a mess in Philly. Call the cops. And we're going to get ready to sign off. So as we do every week, see you guys same time, Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time on our YouTube channel, live. And Tori, as I always say, Chris knows what time it is. Go Hoosiers. See you guys next week.
Let's go!
I was checking out the scout report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed,
What?
and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach G. Yeah, we live with your boy Monte.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me,